The VA Community Care Network can be a great option for in-home care for veterans of all ages who qualify, regardless of whether they have a service-connected or non-service-connected disability. And through the VA CCN program, veterans have the freedom to choose an agency that provides in-home care as long as the agency is credentialed. And usually veterans are assigned between 6 to 20 hours of care per week, but in some cases, the VA may even authorize care for 24 hours a day. And with the VA CCN, the number of hours a veteran is awarded is solely based on need and not financial standing. And the VA reimburses the VA CCN providers directly. And just a quick reminder that some veterans can be eligible for both in-home care services through VA CCN, as well as eligible for the aid and attendance pension benefit. In this video, we'll dive into the eligibility criteria for veterans to receive in-home care services through VA CCN. Are you ready to learn more? Let's go. My name is Jonathan Marsh, the owner of Home Helpers Home Care of Bradenton, and we are proud to serve veterans as part of a distinguished group of providers across the United States through the VA Community Care Network. So let's get started. So eligibility for in-home care through VA CCN boils down to two areas: administrative eligibility and clinical eligibility. So let's first talk about administrative eligibility. So with administrative eligibility, all of the following criteria must be met. The veteran must be enrolled in the VA healthcare system. The veteran must be eligible for the Veterans Community Care Program, and in-home care services must be ordered by a VA or VA paid provider. And just a quick side note, the in-home care services in the VA CCN program are referred to as homemaker, home health aid, and respite services. But in this video, we'll continue to refer to them as in-home care services. Let's talk about the first of the administrative eligibility criteria. The veteran must be enrolled in the VA healthcare system. So to enroll in the VA healthcare system, there are certain requirements, so let's go over those. The first being that the veteran must meet the statutory definition of a veteran, meaning an individual who served in the active military, naval, or air service and who was discharged or released under conditions other than dishonorable. So your discharge can be anything except dishonorable. Also, the veteran must meet the statutory definition of active duty, meaning full-time duty in the armed forces other than active duty for training. The National Guard alone will not apply. However, the duty does not need to be combat or wartime. Also, the veteran must have served a minimum period of 24 months of continuous active duty. However, here's an important note. The minimum period of 24 months may not apply if the veteran was discharged due to a service-connected disability, hardship, or served prior to September 7th, 1980. If the veteran meets these criteria, they can enroll using what's called the 1010 Easy form or by calling the VA Enrollment Office. Now let's move on to the second of the administrative eligibility criteria. The veteran must be eligible for the Veterans Community Care Program. So eligibility for Veterans Community Care Program, otherwise known as VCCP, is based on 6 criteria. And the veteran only needs to meet one of the 6 criteria. I've listed these 6 criteria on the screen. We won't discuss these in detail, but typically the veteran will meet at least one of these. All right, moving on to the last of the administrative eligibility criteria. The in-home care services must be ordered by a VA or VA paid provider, and that will typically be the veteran's social worker at the VA. Now let's move on to clinical eligibility. So with clinical eligibility, one of the following must be met. The veteran has 3 or more activity of daily living dependencies, and the VA defines activities of daily living to include eating, which is feeding oneself, bathing, getting dressed, transferring, and when they're talking about transferring, they're talking about mobility, for example, moving from a bed to a chair, and also toileting. And when they're talking about toileting, they're talking about using the bathroom and continence. Or the veteran has a significant cognitive impairment as evidenced by a deficit in executive decision-making or memory, or the veteran has a need for homemaker and home health aide services as adjunct care to community hospice services, or the veteran has 2 ADL dependencies and 2 or more of the following conditions. So 1, has a dependency in 3 or more instrumental activities of daily living, and the VA defines instrumental activities of daily living to include shopping, food preparation, housekeeping, doing the laundry, handling medications, using the telephone, and transportation. 2, has been discharged recently from a nursing facility or has an upcoming nursing home discharge plan contingent on the receipt of home and community-based care services. 3, is 75 years old or older. 4, has had a high use of medical services defined as 3 or more hospitalizations in the past year, or has utilized outpatient clinics or emergency evaluation units 12 or more times in the past year. 5, has been diagnosed with clinical depression, or 6, lives alone in the community. Now, if the veteran does not meet any of those criteria, he or she may still be eligible if it is determined by the clinical care team that the veteran needs in-home care services and the clinical justification is documented in the electronic medical record. In our next video, we'll talk about how a veteran can get these services started, these valuable in-home care services, and we'll go into detail about the steps in the process that will be necessary to meet the eligibility criteria and who at the VA is involved in each step. To learn more, speak to a member of our team at 941-999-1960 or visit our website at homehelpershomecare.com/Bradenton to download our free ebook and find other detailed information about the VA Community Care Network. Simply navigate to Services, Specialized Care, VA Community Care Network. There we will also have links to information on the VA website about eligibility for the VA healthcare system and how you can apply using what's called the 1010 Easy form. We also have the 1010 Easy form on the webpage that you can download and print. Home Helpers Home Care of Bradenton is a VA CCN provider that is credentialed to provide in-home care services in Manatee County, Florida. If you're not in the Manatee County area, there are credentialed providers all across the United States, and we've included a link on our website to a page on the VA website that allows you to search for in-network VA CCN providers across the country. And we at Home Helpers Home Care of Bradenton are committed to serving veterans in Manatee County, Florida. If you're a veteran in need of in-home care services, we would be honored to serve you as your in-home care provider. We've been serving veterans in the Manatee County area since 2017, prior to the inception of the VA CCN program, when there was another program that VA CCN has now replaced. In the VA CCN program, we are listed as Home Helpers in Direct Link 58803. Our national provider ID is 12254-17231, and our license number is 299994455. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to check out our next video in our VA CCN series where we discuss how to get started with VA CCN in-home care services. If you found this video to be helpful, please be sure to click the subscribe button and share it with veterans who may be in need of in-home care services. Thank you again, and take care.